Hello, I'm Daniel Lenz from the OS 2200 Utilities team. This technical update will take a look at what's new in the service library, commonly known as SLIB, Level 2R2 for ClearPath OS 2200 Release 18.0. If you have not already viewed the SYSLIB Level 77R2 technical update, I recommend that you view it first. A number of 2028 T-date dollar remediation features are implemented in SLIB Level 2R2. They include Program File Adapt for the Processor Setup Service, standardization of SLIB processor output, updates to support 2028 T-date dollar remediation features implemented in SYSLIB 77R2 for ClearPath OS 2200 Release 18.0, including BSP dollar, ID dollar, SFDT dollar, and TIMECONV dollar routines. A new identification line service, and a new time to ASCII service. For the Program File Adapt feature, the processor setup services are modified to process program file elements with dates and times in both reversed T-date dollar and modified SW time format. When the processor setup services are called with function set to process specified fields, field usage set to input, and field type set to absolute element, omnibus element, relocatable element, or symbolic element, the program file element date and time in reversed T-date dollar or modified SW time format is converted to SLIB Gregorian format date and time and stored in the file information packet. No modifications to the processor setup services packet or to the calling sequence are required. For the Standardize SLIB processor output feature, the SLIB processor is updated to produce a standard identification line and the standard Unisys copyright notice. The SLIB processor output previously included only the SLIB level and the date and time SLIB was built. In the new format, an identification line containing both the date and time SLIB was built and the current date and time, including time zone mnemonics, are output in Unisys recommended format. SYSLIB BSP dollar is updated to support program file elements with both reversed T-date dollar and modified SW time timestamps. The corresponding change to the SLIB shell interface to SYSLIB BSP dollar service was to add a new element date time type definition to the EMS dollar BSP/plus definition element. The element date time type definition contains reversed T-date dollar and modified SW time timestamp fields. The SYSLIB ETIA dollar function is updated to retrieve the current date and time in configured format when a 0 date and time is specified during element creation. No corresponding changes to the SLIB shell interface to SYSLIB BSP dollar service were required to support this functionality. The SYSLIB ETIA dollar function is also updated to convert a non-zero date and time to configured format or a caller specified format during element creation. The corresponding change to the SLIB shell interface to SYSLIB BSP dollar service updated the BSP read FTI packet type packet definition to allow this conversion specification. The SYSLIB ETIC dollar function is updated to convert the existing date and time to configured format or a caller specified format during element modification. The corresponding change to the SLIB shell interface to SYSLIB BSP dollar service updated the BSP read FTI packet type packet definition to allow this conversion specification. SYSLIB SFDT dollar is updated to remove all instances of ERTDate dollar for retrieving the current date and time. No corresponding changes to the SLIB shell interface to SYSLIB SFDT dollar service were required. SYSLIB TIMECONV dollar is updated to remove all instances of ERTDate dollar for retrieving the current date and time in TDate dollar format. No corresponding changes to either the SLIB time format convert service or the SLIB shell interface to SYSLIB TIMECONV dollar service were required. The identification line service generates and optionally displays an identification line for the service caller consisting of a caller specified header text, an optional creation date and time, and the execution date and time. The generated identification line can be used as a processor sign-on line or for other purposes, for example in report headers. The service is callable from UCSC, UCS COBOL, and UCS Plus. Example calls from each language are provided in the ClearPath OS 2200 Service Library Programming Reference Manual. Input creation and execution timestamps can be provided in TDate dollar, DW time dollar, sys dollar time, 3-word binary, and modified SW time format. Alternatively, the service can be directed to obtain the current date and time as the execution date and time. The formatted output creation and execution times can be displayed in either local or UTC time. The output execution date and time can be displayed in short, long, or recommended formats. The output creation date and time, if selected for display, can be in either short or the same format as the execution date and time. A new object module, $create$DT, is added to SLIB in support of the identification line service. $create$DT contains defined names corresponding to the link defined symbols for DW time dollar, sys dollar time, and modified SW time as shown here. These defined names can be imported into your program to specify the creation date and time to the identification line service, other SLIB services, or even other non-SLIB related uses. Example usage for each language is provided in the ClearPath OS 2200 Service Library Programming Reference Manual. The time to ASCII service is added to SLIB, allowing UCSC, UCS COBOL, and UCS Plus callers to convert timestamps into standard formatted ASCII strings. Example calls from each language are provided in the ClearPath OS 2200 Service Library Programming Reference Manual. Input timestamps can be provided in TDate dollar, DW time dollar, sys dollar time, 3-word binary, and modified SW time format. Alternatively, the service can be directed to obtain the current date and time. alternate time configuration is supported. You can choose to generate any of the date display, time display, or a combination of date and time display formats listed here. A time zone mnemonic is only produced when the input timestamp is SYSLIB time or modified SW time, or when the current time is requested by specifying -1. The default is local time, but UTC time can be returned for SYSLIB time, modified SW time, and -1 timestamps under certain circumstances identified in the SLIB manual. This concludes the SLIB Level 2R2 Technical Update presentation. Thank you for viewing.